Hello, 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 everyone. How are you? Hope you're having an incredible, incredible day. And may peace be upon you. Thank you for joining my show. Yes, I can. The secrets to life, business, and career success. And today I have the gorgeous, the inspiration, the formidable Jennifer Parker Brown, who is the founder of the House of Preeminence Magazine, one of the top lifestyle and female entrepreneur magazine, and also a high vibe lifestyle maven. So, Jennifer, welcome, welcome, welcome.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you. Just such a wonderful thing collaborating with you and getting together for the highest good of all the ladies we're helping. So it's a joy.
Thank you so much, Jenny. And today, Jenny and I, we've chosen a topic that we feel could shed some light into hope and what's next for you, especially in 2022. And we're going to be talking about the art of thriving by following your heart. So, the art of thriving by following your heart. And Jenny mentioned that, following your heart is slightly different from your passion, which, Jenny's going to explain her point of view. But my question is this to you, Jenny. Like a lot of people are saying, like following your heart, and it's a almost like a common term. But how can you follow your heart and still thrive? Because a lot of the time people are like not making it, or they live in scarcity. They want it, that's their heart, but they're not hitting it, or they're gone a different direction. So tell us, first of all, before that, tell us a little bit about yourself. You've been living your heart for as far as I've known you, and probably longer than that.
Yes, getting a career like everybody was telling me to when I was 18 was absolutely not an option. And I tried it for 6 months and, and found a conventional job. When I told my parents that I wanted to either do something artistic or work with horses, and they refused and proceeded to drop me 300 miles from home with my suitcase for a managerial post with Marks and Spencer's. So that was my, I just was dropped into a corporate, like a really, really steady career path. And after 6 months, my soul was screaming at me, no freaking way am I cut out for this life. So I rebelled greatly, and at the age of 19, following your heart also led me to follow my heart in romantic terms as well. So, which took me into quite a few misadventures, I can tell you. But nevertheless, at that point, at the age of I was one day 19. I married a Royal Marine Commando, and he was a motorcycle display, like a motorcycle, display troupe, and he rode on the top of the pyramid, which I thought was so exciting. And he was handsome, gorgeous. Unfortunately, he was an alcoholic, and he was just, I couldn't make anything of it. So that early incident kind of made me ground in to the idea of I'm just going to do what I want next. And it was messy so many times. It was messy. It really was messy. So I already had this baby, and then I went off. I got married a second time at the age of 22. And by the age of 30, by the age of 30, I'd done some pretty wonderful things. I had a very, very successful career in fine dining. I did everything there was connected with fine dining, healthy nutrition. I was a published author. I did TV show and radio shows, and my business was doing absolutely great, except that's when the call of my heart clicked in again. So there was this pattern of my soul saying, okay, well, you've grown this much, it's time to grow to a next level. And like you mentioned just before we came on live, it takes courage. I didn't think of it as courage at the time, because I think I must have just been foolhardy. But I was prepared just a bit, but the call of my heart was so strong, I was prepared to take the consequences. So within a couple of years, I'd left that business and the partner with it, and I decided I was coming to France. That was one of the biggest changes for me. You know all about that leaving your country and going to a new country, but it was a dream for me to come to France, and that was over 30 years ago. And I was shy, I really was quite shy and introverted. However, when that big move really opened up my horizons, and after that, I did some amazing things like chateau restoration, restoring castles in France, and became a skilled decorator of historic buildings. And then I was on a personal development path by that time, and I knew that was going to be the key to kind of reining in all the passion I had for the next big adventure, and helping me, steer me into what I now know as my soul blueprint, and what I teach also is a soul blueprint. So the biggest catalysis, the biggest event that happened I was still building up towards that big dream. When I came to France, I realized that there was this beautiful art form of equestrian cabaret, which means horses. Yeah. And when I saw that, I thought, I'm home. I am home. This was my original dream. Art and horses. I'm home. So by setting my northern star so early, not now, telling me, being told, no, you can't do that, and then going through all these adventures and relationships and messiness, and then arriving in France, and then finding that that actually it was here waiting for me. That was just opened my eyes. And the most magical moment of all, and the part that has just led me now to be able to thrive in this path, was when because I kept learning. I bought a little white horse. I learned how to dance with him, and then I became a professional equestrian cabaret artist. Talk about yes, I can, yes, I could, just like, so I became a professional cabaret artist. I created my own theatre under a big top. I had a beautiful moment one night on the Mediterranean when I was replacing the head of the troupe, because her horse was lame. And she said, Jenny, you and Poliso are going to take our place today. And I was like, no, I can't possibly. She said, yes, you are. So my horse performed like an angel that night, and it was magical. Everything. I was dressed in a white, ballet dress. I was there in my soul element, and it was so beautiful. And I had an epiphany. It happened when Danny, the chef of the troupe, she opened this chest, and 12 white doves flew out. This is true. Flew around the arena and settled on my horse, who didn't move an inch. And at that moment, there was, I can only say it was a moment of absolute grace, when I was like, oh, okay, I'm done. That's what I came here to do. Okay, I'm done now. You can beam me up, just like, and it was that, this is what I came here to do. Actually, it wasn't, this is what I came here to feel. So it was this was alignment with my soul blueprint that gave me that feeling. And a few years beforehand, I'd had my second child at the age of nearly 40, and I was feeling pretty suicidal. And I said to myself in that moment, what is it that can take a human being from the depths of despair to feeling this kind of connection with their purpose, and align with the universe, and so happy. And I set off on that quest, and that's the quest that has brought me now. That was 2006, So it's kind of good 15, 16 years ago that happened. And ever since, I've been studying this now, and just studying quantum physics, neuroscience, epigenetics, the behavioral science, all of those things to answer my question of how to achieve that. Because I knew that if I could experience that Izdiha and then make a livelihood out of it, that I could teach other people to do. So now there is a template, and I'm going to come back to your key question: how is it possible to thrive? And we can move on from my story, but it is such a beautiful story. Is once I discovered, what it takes to be aligned with that amount of happiness and joy, I realized, because we are all energy, because everything is energy, because abundance is energy, because we are energy, the universe is energy, that was like a portal for opportunities and abundance. So to be able to follow your heart so much, with so much courage, that you actually get into a state of grace, is when you are open to the most abundance.
That is amazing. Oh my God, I can't believe like the adventures that you've gone through, from a biker to, the horses. Absolutely, like, what then kind of like, they call it the omen, isn't it? With the doves literally sitting on your horse. Like, it's just absolutely like, you couldn't get like, when people say, God, show me a sign, and you're like, God literally showed you, a way, like a sign. I love it. It's amazing what you've done, and the courage of moving country, the even though it's messy, that you're just like, okay, this is like, I'm gonna get up and do again. Now, my question to you is, Jenny, how do you know what your heart wants? How do you know? Because obviously the heart can't speak and suddenly say, hey, this. But how do you know what your heart wants? Because you've got the mind, it can get a kind of noisy, isn't it? With your mind, with the people telling you, how do you know what your heart wants?
Well, that the heart is the most intelligent organ in the body, and the heart and the mind are completely connected. That the immense Heart Math Institute are experts and document how the heart and mind are linked. They can't be separated. They absolutely can't be separated. So let's go back to the heart again, and go back to feeling and emotion and sensation and experience. What I discovered in 2017, because I asked the same question, is the heart. This was the question I was asking, 4 years ago. And having done an awful lot of research and learning, was there are three qualities to our life, three, in which we are capable of reaching that level of epiphany or grace or opening or alignment or joy or whatever you want to call it. There are three. The first one is when we are doing what we love. And that's why this is different to following your passion, because people think that following your passion is really kind of doing what you love. And that's, you see, that is only one part of the equation. So when you are doing what you love, you naturally come into this, this state of bliss. Then when you are engaged in doing what you are naturally gifted at, like God-given gift, like opening your mouth and singing, the thing that is the easiest for you, the most natural, there too, you are in the same state of a same flow state as when you are doing what you love. It's when you are doing what you are naturally gifted at. When you are, again, this is another aspect of it, engaged in the quality of life where you bring all of your values into it, where you uphold your values as you do so beautifully. You uphold your values. What is the, what means the most to you? And you are a proof of that. That is another example of you getting into this state of grace and flow. Now, all of those things on their own are incredibly powerful. But when you unite them together, then nothing can touch you. Nothing can touch you. That's when you touch your genius, your superpowers, your purpose, your really divine purpose, when you start to feel your divinity in the world, where you start to feel your connection with all that is. And then all you have to do is just reorganize life so that you are uniting those three things. And would you like me to tell you why?
Yes, absolutely. Because now I know those three things, and giving, like, when you're in those three things, either one of it or all of it, there is this space, isn't it, Jenny, that thing just boom, it just clicks. And that's when miracles or magic happens. Like, it just comes together. So tell us, what does that look like?
Okay, so this is what I discovered in 2017. I had just been a part of a branding TV reality show in Florida, and where I was actually a candidate, and then subsequently asked to come back for seasons 2, 3, and 4 to take the candidates through my own methodology, because by that time I'd got a methodology, and it has its intellectual property called the Trinity Code. So and the Trinity Code I found, because I realized when I was looking at this whole juxtaposition of three, that the way that the cosmos, the world, energy, humans, everything in the world is made up of numerology. Everything is made up of numerology, and sound. Sound and numerology, they're very, very, very linked. Everything is made of that, and that there was a code, a rule of three, which is a fundament of the universe. Like 3 is the first number, which means multiplicity, which means more. Like when you've got 1 and 2, there isn't more. There's only 1 and 2, and when you combine them, then there is multiplicity. So everything was developed from a fundament of 3, and there are incredible scientists and historians who knew this secret, including the Egyptians, which is why they made triangular pyramids, three-sided buildings. They knew this. So did Pythagoras. He was the one who made all these discoveries about the triangle.
Yes.
And everything in maths was, modern maths was based on that. So did Newton. Newton knew about it in alchemy. Nicholas Tesla, he was the one who took this to the world, because he was obsessed with 3, 6, and 9. And it would take a whole other whole lot of podcasts to talk about that. But it is absolutely fascinating, and I can give you some links for people to go and find out more about this, because it's mind-blowing. So, and why it's so relevant is when you apply this rule of 3 by unifying the qualities of your life in which you experience, flow and genius and superpower and expansion, then that is when you step into as a natural magnet for abundance and opportunity and magic and miracles, as you mentioned.
That is amazing. Kind of like it starts with you, isn't it? Like, you kind of being in your zone of genius. That's what your tagline always say, in service of your genius, kind of like being that. And you start to kind of like attract with the particular vibe, with the particular people, the particular opportunities, because everything is energy. Everything is energy. It's part of the physics, the law of physics. Everything is energy. So my question to you is, Jenny, now that we know, like, okay, if we combine this idea, this Trinity idea, and following your heart, we can lead to the best version of our life. Now, does it actually help us to make money? Because we do need some form of money and wealth to live, whether it's a necessity to our home, to the food, and actually have a little bit more of sustenance and enjoy life. Does it actually lead to that I mean, I know the answer to it, but does it actually lead to that? Because a lot of people have like that connotation. Following your heart is not going to make you any money. Follow your heart. Oh yeah, but it's not going to make you any money. That's what you need to do, is you need to go and be a sales insurance and make money. That's what you need to do. So tell us about your experiences, because you've met with a lot of people, you've worked with amazing people, you've interviewed amazing people, even high influencers. So tell us, like, let's share a little bit of like insights into that. Does following your heart will lead to the ability for you to create wealth for yourself and others?
Yes, and here's why. It's actually incredibly practical. Even though this all sounds very far out, very mystical, I took this knowledge and I made it into a system to apply to, and this is why this will interest your audience, to apply to entrepreneurs, and how they get their message out there. Because here's the thing, Izdihar, most entrepreneurs will they'll be thinking probably, how am I going to make money? First of all, how am I going to make money? How am I going to make money out of what drive?
Yes.
Then this could be in various orders. Then they're also going to think of, what am I going to offer? What offers shall I do? I don't know what offer to put out. Especially now, because the world's changing. So should I change my offers? What offers should I put out? Then you take that back one step. We've gone from how to what to why. And the great Simon Sinek, of course, said, start with why. Is create something where people identify with your values, and they will buy anything for you if they identify with your values. So he said, start with why. And the Trinity Code work takes you back one more and identifies who you are. Now, most people can't say who they are. They say that they talk about the roles they have. He's like, we are not our roles. We are not our elevator pitch. We are not our, whatever's on our website. We are not that. We are those sensations. So I take people back to that, to articulate who they are, and then to discover what they are called to do with it. Like, what is my calling? And I'll give you my Trinity Code as an example. Then you'll be able to see.
Yes.
So my Trinity Code is creativity, creative genius, actually, grace and beauty, and transformation. That's my Trinity Code. When I unify them, what I come up with is, and this is who I am the embodiment of grace and beauty, using my creative genius to raise the bar on transformation and help humanity rise. That is who I am. So that I am so connected with that, the universe will say to me, well, yes, you are. Absolutely. Here's the best way you can do that. Then, so I say, what am I called to do with who I am? And the universe will answer always, inspiration, ideas, opportunities, calls, people, meetings, it'll come in. So the call, as I'd already had a magazine, it came back to me, is bring the magazine back. And I went, yes, it's time. Bring the magazine back. So I brought the magazine back because I'd had one 10 years ago. And then it's been magic ever since, attracting the contributors, attracting the influencers. And so in that reverse engineering, so first of all, I said, who am I? Then I said, what am I called to do with that? Then I said, no, first I said, why am I called? Why am I called to Yeah, what am I called to do? What's my why with that? Then what does that look like in the market? What does that look like in the marketplace? And how am I going to do it? So actually, it's like reverse engineering, and it works beautifully with branding. I've done branding for clients, which I call divine branding, where I take them back to this, take them back to their who, and then we work on their why. Then we work on their what. Only then we work on their offers. And of course, when you're that connected with your why and your who, your offers are going to make you so flipping excited, because they're connected with who you are. You're not answering some guru letter who said, yes, you should make this kind of course or that kind of program or write this kind of book. You're doing it from, your deepest essence. And then how am I going to do it? Well, we all do that. We get up the next day, we write a list and we start.
Absolutely. And that's absolutely amazing. And you kind of like a true embodiment. Like when you say creativity, transformation, and the other one, I forgot. But I'm like, grace and beauty. I'm like, oh my God, that's so Jenny. And then, Jenny is the founder of the House of Preeminence Magazine. And if you look at her magazine, I'm going to be putting in the link in the show note below. But if you look at her magazine, it truly is. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's graceful. It is like, it's like Jenny takes you on a journey from here to here. The transformation, the stories, absolutely amazing. And Jenny has what she calls the grand posse. Now I know what the word posse means. So the grand posse, because when Jenny says to me, she the grand posse, I'm like, oh, if Jenny thinks it's cool, I'm in, kind of way. But the grand posse is just a totally high vibe alignment. Like Jenny says, the synergy is important to her. Women kind of playing in a higher level, but also haven't sold their soul to the devil, as you call it. They still have the soul. And the House of Preeminence is one of the most influential magazine as a female entrepreneur or even as an entrepreneur yourself. So Jenny, talk us through about bringing that magazine back and fitting it, and then kind of like, as we wrap up, your outlook for 2022, or whenever you're listening to this, your outlook for the next 6 months and 12 months. If you can give us like a couple of things as a guiding compass to have us following our hearts, even though it's going to be messy, even though it's going to be scary.
It's to identify if what you're doing really does have all those elements in. Is it who you really are? Is it your calling? Is it your highest purpose and calling? Are you enjoying the way that you're putting yourself out there? Does it thrill you? Because if you're not, then you're out of alignment. If you like, maybe you don't like speaking, maybe you don't like presenting, maybe you really want to publish. So it's really important to make sure that what you're doing fits all those criterias, or that those practical 4 criterias, because they must bring you into alignment. And if there's one part that doesn't fit, then it's gonna feel like an effort. It's gonna feel like striving. It's gonna feel like like hard work.
Yeah, so the hustle of it.
Yeah, and that will naturally bring you into your heart space. You can't not be in your heart space, and the minute that you do that, all of your neurobiology, you'll be sending off endorphins and oxytocin and all of these happiness hormones, which are the best money attractors of all. So to come to your second question, yes, I have a huge vision for 2022. So excited. Is at last, after building this magazine for over a year and a half, is we're going to be able to offer other people to be able to come on board. So not just my grand posse, of which I'm very proud that you're now a part, but also for other people to get involved in a different way. There is going to be all sorts of levels that people can get involved. as patrons, as ambassadors, as sponsors, but you know, just kind of everybody can do a part. We are also going to be introducing a platform which all my contributors will feature their courses, so that all these courses from my posse are available to you know, to change makers and entrepreneurs and messengers and all of that. So that's a big deal. Then the biggest thing is we're going to go be broadcasting on internet TV. So we'll be on Amazon Fire, Roku, Apple. So it just keeps expanding.
Absolutely. And we're going to be in the living room, as you call it, in the living of millions of people, isn't it, Jenny? So that is like the exciting part, which I'm so excited. I'm so grateful to be part of the Grand Posse and the House of Preeminence. And so, Jenny, as a wrap up, you know, you've shared so many, like the Trinity Code, start with your why and kind of reverse engineer out of it and following your heart. Because I remember there was a time when you know, I was told to teach women how to do sales. I'm like, okay, then, like, is you going to get money out of it? I said, okay, then I did it. But I'm like, oh my God, like, oh, you know, I could do it. I'm good at it and everything. But it, like there was something missing. And then when you said that, you know, like everything's in alignment, it's we're in the zone of genius. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't have that, but I do now, because now I fight for women's voices. That's what I do. I'm like, oh, now it's just like the flow. Yes, you know, obviously there's challenges, isn't it? Like when you follow your heart, there's always going to be messy challenges and scary. But that is like, I feel like such a blessing to be able to do that. And kind of to wrap up, what about the women who knows this is what their heart wants, but they're scared? How can they take a step, or what can they do to kind of like at least take that first step, and it's going to be okay?
The best way is to imagine your last day on earth and just to ask yourself if you are prepared to have regrets. And I'm not prepared to have any regrets whatsoever, none. You know, I want to exhale that last breath saying I did everything that I came here to do. You know, I'm complete. It has to be that important. And it's also to get used to it being messy. You know, life is messy, just like life is messy. But when you are attached, you know, this is what we were talking about in the beginning, is about being a shapeshifter. We are all shapeshifters. You are not cast in stone at all. You know, like nothing's cast in stone. You just shape and shift and evolve. But there is a soul blueprint which is created by the Trinity Code, and that will lead you through anything. That will absolutely take you through anything. You know, when things get challenging, for me, it is the heart, which isn't very often now because I'm so immersed in this energy. I simply drop back into it. In fact, I do my own Trinity Code a couple of times a year and check back in that I'm on point. And if I'm on point, then off we go. And if there was a point when, a few years ago, when I felt things were off, and when I checked in with myself, I was off. So things were messy. But the more that you come into alignment, the more, you know, the more the universe will line up with you.
That is absolutely beautiful. What a way to end. And the last question, Jenny, is what's one fun thing that people don't know about you? And you can't say horses, because we already know you love horses.
The one fun thing. Okay. It was one of the dreams, and not many people know this, is when I was falling in love again, I fell in love at the age of 40. I just had my second baby, and I fell in love with a singer who had a dance troupe. And because I'd been in dance in my years, it was another dream come true that he offered me a possibility to dance in his troupe. So I got back into shape at the age of 40 after having had 2 children, except that it was what you call a revue in French. It was burlesque. So I have actually danced with a pearl G-string, feathers on my head, and high heels at the age of 41.
Oh, and that's like the best thing, ever. Oh my God, I didn't expect you from that. And that is so cool. Oh my God. Amazing, amazing, amazing. One final word from you, Jenny. If you could have one word to leave as a hope and a guidance or a beacon to any woman that's listening to this, what would that be?
It's my motto, my mantra, my daily way of being, and it's an art and a science, and it is this. It is show up as your highest self, and your highest life will meet you there. Show up as your highest self, and your highest life will meet you there.
That is absolutely amazing. So show up in your highest life and your highest self and your highest life.
Highest self and your highest life will meet you there.
Got it. So you show up as the best version of you, and the best type of life will come up and meet you there.
Absolutely.
That is absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Jenny. Jennifer Parker-Bolsher, the founder of the House of Preeminence Magazine and a high vibe lifestyle maven. Thank you for the conversation. This is your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil, and what a wonderful conversation. Tell yourself, yes, I can. And so it is done. Thank you. Say bye, Jenny. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Thank you.